Welcome to the Bridge Church Midweek podcast. We exist to connect people with others and God. We hope this week's episode helps you do just that. Enjoy.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Bridge Church Midweek podcast. I'm here with Caleb Roesler. How you doing, Caleb?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you. You are a Bridge Church member. Tell me about your family, how long you've been coming to Bridge Church. And actually, this is your second time on the Bridge Church podcast.
It is.
You were one of the very first episodes when we launched the Midweek episodes. Tell me a little bit about you, how long you've been coming to Bridge Church, and about your family.
Yeah, so we moved to Waukesha about 6.5 years ago. So coming to Bridge Church ever since then. Wife Justine and daughter 4-year-old Avonlea. So it's a 3-man crew, and we're bridge group leaders. So we've had a bridge group here for probably 4 years now, maybe even 5 years. Pretty much ever since we started, we've been in a bridge group, but been leaders since pretty early on. A new ministry that we're doing right now is I went to Alpha for the first time this summer.
Yeah.
Totally recommend to everybody. Even, it's one of those things like, sometimes it's stereotyped as like for beginning Christians.
Right.
But like all the content's phenomenal. You get people from all different stages. So highly recommend. And just started again last week being one of the co-leaders of it. So excited to do that.
That's awesome. Yeah, for sure. And what's cool about the bridge group that you lead is it's actually part of a cool lineage, so to speak. One of the 4 core values of our bridge groups here, one of the 4 is multiplication, where we ask everybody when they launch a group to be open to the idea of that group one day splitting in order to multiply our impact, to have 2 groups for more people to come in. And you guys split off of another group, and now I can think of 2 groups. I used to be a part of your bridge group, and then we split off and started one, and then another person has split off of your group and started one.
Are you breaking up with me?
Yeah, I'm sorry to do it on the podcast. Okay, so that's why I wanted to talk to you about your bridge group in particular. Tell me a little bit about, just describe your bridge group, and then I'd like to get into the benefit that it serves you as a leader, because obviously a leader of the group is also a member of the group. It's not like it's free of benefit, but as well as the people in your group. Why do people keep on coming, and why should people be a part of bridge groups?
Yeah, so our bridge group, it's home-based, right? It's a community group, so we meet in our co-leader's home. And so it's definitely a home feel, right? We show up on, it's 2 Fridays a month. We show up in the evening, and we basically have dinner together. It's kind of potluck style. People bring different courses, kind of rotate what someone brings.
Yeah.
And just have a meal and fellowship together, enjoy each other's company. And then we all mostly have, a lot of us have kids, so we have a babysitter that we, pitch in for, and they'll usually watch the kids in the basement. And then we just kind of dig in and have about an hour of going through the Word and just really good discussion and conversation and kind of growing together. And then we say you can go, and people end up staying sometimes late into the night, just enjoying each other's company and just, kind of hanging out. And so, that's kind of what it looks like. Again, some other bridge groups are different, whether they're like a Wednesday night group at the church, but that's a kind of community, very home feeling based group where you just feel like sometimes you're just hanging out with friends.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what are some of the types of Bible studies that you guys have done?
Yeah, so for the most part, we've really been going through Right Now Media. And so we tend to, for the most part, pick a video series that's going to go through a book in the Bible. Last one we did was 1 Corinthians. We went through that. Before that, we had went through Matt Chandler's at Psalm, was it 145? I should know better. Went through one of the Psalms, and so we always kind of pick up that. Sometimes we've done topical stuff too. We've done some marriage topics, like we looked at Francis Chan's "You and Me Forever," like a marriage topical series.
Yeah.
And then starting this fall when we're kicking off again, I think we're going to try to go through. We're going to try to not do a video series and see how that goes. If it's just a little bit more engaging, and we're going to try to do the Book of Galatians, I think.
Yeah.
So
no, I think that's great. I like the idea that you are going to experiment with the content that you do. It doesn't always have to be a video.
Yeah.
I know in my bridge group, last time we met, we chose to not watch a video, and instead we discussed a few questions surrounded around Pastor Todd's most recent sermon from a Sunday, and the discussion was actually really good. It doesn't always have to be sit down and watch a video.
Yeah.
Now, compare the level of connection in your bridge group to the level of connection, personal connection and conversation that you have on a Sunday morning?
Yeah, it's definitely way more advanced, right? On a Sunday morning, unless you are a very introverted and potentially, very intentional. If you're a very intentional person and likely an extroverted person as well,
Yeah.
you're not going to make those connections.
Sure.
Because you really have to go out of your way, and that person has to have enough time between, running to grab their kids or go to the cafe or whatever it is to actually want to have a substantial conversation. And then, you might see them the next week. Because a lot of times if you go to the same service, you sit by the same people, that can happen. And so,
Yeah.
but it tends to say small talk in those, 5-minute conversations on a weekly basis. But in a home group environment, usually when you're just praying with people, they share their life, things are going on with people's, this situation's happened with my parents, or, our kids are going through this. So you're praying for people. And so a lot of times that leads to communication just outside of the group, if you want to make sure things are going okay. So it just gets to a much deeper level that they know a lot more about you. And then obviously, the more you're around somebody in that environment, you kind of just get a sense of who they are, right?
Yeah.
What they're interested in, and just kind of more their personality.
For sure. Well, and I think there's something to be said about knowing the purpose of a tool. You know what I mean? Like, even you can even just take that metaphor. If you look into a toolbox, if you could probably hammer a nail in the long run using a wrench, but it's not the best tool for the job. That's not what it's for, right? And I think you got to know the purpose of a Sunday morning and know the purpose of a bridge group and use them accordingly. Because especially if you have kids, Sunday mornings are a big rush. Or if you serve on a team on a Sunday morning, you might not be connecting with a ton of people. And so I think it's important for people to know that Sunday mornings are, at the end of the day, about corporate worship. Mm-hmm. If you come in and you worship side by side with people who believe in the same Jesus you believe, Sunday morning just accomplished its purpose. It's about corporate worship. And then bridge groups, obviously we want worship to happen there, and it does, but that's truly about fellowship. That's about, if you take our vision statement, it's connecting people with others and God. You're primarily there on a Sunday morning to connect with God, though you will connect with others. And in a bridge group, you're primarily there to connect with others, and of course, you will also connect with God. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
What else would you share about your bridge group, or anything else you want to share about the whole concept?
Yeah, I think just to kind of dovetail off of what you just said, so I'm just thinking back to some of the stuff Pastor Todd said about, when he spoke about community as one of the pathway practices.
Yeah.
And kind of just, we're trying to build common unity. And he talked about like Ephesians 4 and, how we're supposed to kind of display patience and humility and bearing with one another so that we have unity, right? And kind of showed on the screen, right? Common unity basically forms communities. So kind of a cool bottom line. So, I wasn't thinking about saying this, but you kind of talked about corporate worship. It's just beautiful sometimes to go to a church service and see many different people, all sorts of ages and backgrounds and from different places come together and worship something common. Like, that's unity. And that's beautiful, right? And then you contrast that with like going to a community group, and you show up in an intimate environment, people's homes, and you're going to have discussion in a very safe place. Everybody's like loving, they want to get to know you. And you might come in saying, oh man, we're relatively similar backgrounds. Like, for instance, in our community group, most people are in their 20s and 30s and have kids. But some couples don't have kids, and there's a couple people that are just singles, right?
Yeah.
You might come in and look and go, man, this looks like it's kind of similar backgrounds. But as a human being, you learn when you start talking about things, people come from just like the most wide variety of backgrounds, don't agree on every single issue. And then as people, like living in close quarters with people, like, you're going to disagree about the things, and that's totally fine. Like, but you come to a place where you actually have unity and you love people and you understand people and you grow as a person, because you're not just living in like your own echo chamber. This is how I think about everything. So I appreciate that intimate environment to say, like, I see unity, but like when I actually put myself in a situation, like, I realize like true unity can be achieved of like beyond some of these like superficial differences, right? By actually like bearing with one another in love, despite like minor different views and stuff that don't have any bearing on like the value of our relationship.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that. I love the unity piece, but then I also truly believe that there's a providence piece when it comes to the groups we engage in. Because you might look around, you have that diverse group of people in a room. We're all pretty different. Like when you and I were in a group together, so I'm a pastor who's in recovery, and you're a veteran, and you're working the financial field.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're really living really different lives. But then because of our bridge group, I realized, oh, me and this bridge group leader and this person over here and this person over here, underneath all of it, because of God's providence, have been brought into the same room, having a core, really the same struggle or version of suffering.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that God has a way of teasing out the similarities through communities like a bridge group. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely.
Yeah, which I think is cool. Anything else you'd share before we go?
Yeah, I would just say one other thing, kind of building off something you said earlier about knowing the tool and its purpose. So those of us in community groups, we have formed very strong relationships, and you kind of have a network of friends. And I think we've seen the value, so we're very blessed to have that. So I would just encourage everybody who's not in a group, certainly pursue one, but I would encourage everybody who's in a group to understand that many people you encounter on a Sunday morning or other things might not have that, and they might be looking for somebody to reach out to them, to engage them. And so try to be proactive about just being warm and welcoming to other people, and let them know that like if they're willing, there's always an opportunity for like more fellowship with other people, in case they came into Sunday morning fully expecting to get 100% that experience. And even if everybody full intentions, you're only going to get to such a level in like a 1 hour interaction on a Sunday morning, right? Mm-hmm. And so just to show them that the door is always open.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thanks for being here, Caleb.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, come back soon. Bye.